An example of how the cabinet level positions can change based on the president is when President Trump became president, he directed the new head, his appointed head of the Secretary of the Interior that oversees public lands and national parks, to start making it easier and making lands more available for private companies to drill for oil and resources in those public lands that they had been previously protected. Another example could be changing the funding for the Department of Defense and asking what the military does and doesn't do, or, for example, instructing the Department of Housing and Urban Development or the Health and Human Services Department to provide more or less services for low-income people. Another common source of presidential power that has come under fire or has been talked about more in the last couple of years has been executive orders. The reason for that is predominantly because when Obama became president, he was facing a Congress that refused to approve any piece of legislation that he wanted. And so he started issuing executive orders. Now, it was often said that Obama issued more executive orders than any other president. Trump was accused of something similar. Even in our AP textbook, it says that executive orders have become more in common lately, which is not true. If you look historically, executive orders have been roughly the same over the last 40 years or so. The difference is that executive orders have come to cover bigger things. Usually executive orders are small potatoes, things that we don't hear about, right? They are orders to slightly change policies within the executive departments in ways that don't have massive ramifications and usually don't make big news stories. But because Obama faced such opposition, he made some executive orders that had pretty big scopes and sequences. So the big one was his Deferred Action for Childhood Arrival program that expanded legal status to thousands of undocumented children without congressional approval. So the goal of this program, he basically said, if you were brought to the United States, I think it was before the age of 2, illegally, you were granted legal status. So it granted legal status to thousands of undocumented children, had widespread applications and widespread ramifications. A similar example, President Trump moved quickly to ban immigration from Muslim-majority countries. Now, this was ultimately deemed unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. It says constitutional, should say unconstitutional, because it was shown to have been discriminatory towards Muslim people. Now, he can ban immigration from certain countries, but you can't base it on religion. The problem was that he had tweeted the phrase Muslim ban, which demonstrated that it was a ban on specifically Muslim-majority countries. The president is also the commander-in-chief of the military. So in the event of an alien invasion, they would be in charge of the military response, and they have direct command of the military. Now remember that only Congress can declare war. But if you're not starting a war, if you're just having the military say, go get in their fighter planes and go fight off the aliens, that is something the president directs, as we saw in the movie Independence Day. We're going to skip this for now. The last is the bully pulpit, or what Theodore Roosevelt called the bully pulpit. The president is a very public figure, and particularly in the United States, we are a very celebrity-obsessed culture, so public figures have a lot of influence. And the president, being a single person, can influence public opinion and public perception of certain issues simply by speaking, particularly now in the age of social media and TV and internet. The president holds a very powerful position simply being able to speak directly to the American people or to advance their agenda by optics, by doing things and saying things that will influence public opinion. When President Obama, for example, meets with Jay-Z and Beyonce, he is advancing an agenda that aligns with what their supporters want as well, right? And he's appealing specifically to people that like Jay-Z and Beyonce's music and who like what they do with their philanthropy, and is connecting his image and his policy agenda to theirs and using his position as the president to advance his agenda, the same way that any other president has done in the past.